last time I think we stopped at Hing, or rather we said start off this. And welcome back to this podcast from the Slow Fire Chef kitchen. Actually, not kitchen, this is the living room. So, we are going to continue with our journey of the spices. I am the mistress of spices, you are the mistress of spices, or the master of spices. And last time I think we stopped just before Hing. So, Hing or asafoetida, okay, I think that's pronounced asafoetida, whatever. There's no emphasis on any of the syllables or something of that sort. Whatever, Hing is better. Is probably one of the smelliest of spices that are there. And Hing was actually used in the Mediterranean, in the West as well, long time ago. And they discovered it in Iran or something like that. I think Alexander the Great sort of took it from Persia across the seas back to wherever he came from. And but then they stopped using it for some reason. I think they found it too smelly and couldn't figure out what to do with it. And obviously they didn't have the art, the culinary art that we in India do. So Hing has sort of continued being used in Indian cookery, and it doesn't really grow here. It comes from Afghanistan, I think, to our country. It's quite expensive, and to get really good Hing is very difficult, because Hing it's the sap from the roots, from the rhizome, and you need to, I mean, in the pure form it's very difficult, but what they do is that they crush it or melt it or whatever, and then they mix it with maida or rice flour, and then they sell it in the powder form, and that's what we buy from the market. It's there in powder form, in crystal form as well, but even that crystal form, I'm told, is adulterated, in the sense it has something mixed in it. And very interestingly, in the south, I found it in a liquidy form, rather a gooey kind of a form. I bought some, and it smells, it's got a sweetish smell to it, the South Indian Hing. I haven't used it as yet, but I'm thinking my next lot of sambar, maybe I should, try using that Hing. So, Hing is, of course, it smells when you put it in the oil or the ghee, but it's so yummy. I mean, it sort of gives that umami flavor to the food. And
What would you use the word fragrance or aroma? It doesn't smell. It's an amazing aroma, man.
it is an amazing aroma when after it's got fried, but when before frying it, it smells. It is smelly, and because it's got a lot of sulfur in it, and but once you use it, I mean, it really adds dimensions to whatever food you're cooking. And of course, vegetarian food, it's, I mean, used very commonly in vegetarian food, especially the dals, the sambars, and in Bengal they have this dish they make with parmal. I was just telling Amit about it last night, in fact. It's called Hing potol. Potol is parmal in Bengali. And the only thing flavoring that dish is Hing, and a little bit of salt and turmeric, of course, but nothing else. And it's one of the yummiest ways you can make parmal. So try it if you want. Use mustard oil, remember to do that. But Hing has a lot of digestive powers, and it's, by the way, Amit, it's supposed to be good for weight loss as well. So from tomorrow, you're going to drink Hing water. So apparently, people do drink Hing water, and you just, I don't know how they do it. They add Hing to the warm water and a little bit of jeera and something else, and you have this concoction. Please figure out the measurements if you're planning to do it, and you drink it on an empty stomach or something like that, and it helps digestion, it helps weight loss, it helps all sorts of things. In fact, I remember once I had a tummy ache, a very bad tummy ache, and my aunt had come over, and she suggested making a paste with Hing and applying it to my navel area, on my abdomen. And she said it would take the pain away. I didn't try it because I wasn't too eager to be smelling of Hing. but apparently it does work. And even for things like insect bites and stuff like that, they say hing with a little garlic paste, if you apply it on the bite, it sort of takes away the sting or something like that. I don't know. Hing's obviously been used a lot in Ayurveda and even in the West for its medicinal properties. So that's quite an interesting spice that we have there in our kitchen, and so commonly used right across the country. Then with hing is Ajwain. Oh my God, Ajwain. Ajwain is, I think, thymol. No, yeah, probably thymol, but it's also called bishop's weed. And Ajwain is, of course, digestion, fantastic for digestion. In fact, in Bengal, we have a very common drink. It comes in this bottle, which is in a little green packaging. It used to be green in my childhood. I don't know whether it's still there. And it's called aqua tycotis, Joanir Arok. And basically, it's water of Ajwain. And you first have to overeat, okay? You go somewhere or at home and you overeat till you've got food coming out of your ears, and then you glug back this aqua tycotis and it's like magic and your digestion is taken care of. At least that's what most of Bengal believes. So a bottle of aqua tycotis is always there in a Bengali home. But even in the north, Ajwain is like if you have flatulence and something or whatever, Ajwain ke goli, hing ke goli, these are very commonly sort of, you just pop some in your mouth and chew it post a meal, and they're like, they have digestive properties. And Ajwain, of course, is also used as a tempering spice, especially for things like colocasia, arbi. When you make arbi with dahi, you just use Ajwain as a tempering thing in some nice hot ghee, and it tastes yummy. Or you can make parathas with them. And Ajwain is like another, really great underrated kind of a spice that's probably gathering dust somewhere in your kitchen shelf, but pull it out and use it, and have fun. Then we have sauf, fennel. Sauf is again so commonly used as a digestive, post-meal mouth freshener. It's put into your pan. But sauf has such amazing properties. The fragrance, the aroma of sauf, and like in Kashmiri cooking, for instance, sauf is very commonly used. You sort of make a powder of it, or you soak it and make a paste out of it, and they cook their meats in that. They add it to vegetables and things like that. And in Bengal we make koi mach with sauf. It's called koi gua, I think it's called, and it's just sauf ka paste and the fish and mustard oil and lots of green chilies and stuff. And I've even made crabs with sauf. I think we have an episode of that on the Slow Fire Chef, so you can check that out as well. But sauf is again, it's I think a very underrated spice because it has such amazing, it's got a sweetness which it adds to whatever food you add it to, and it's got an interesting taste. Like you add sauf to your malpua, or you add sauf, and when you get you bite into it, and it's sort of there at it's sort of that burst of flavor that comes into your mouth. It's really yummy. And I remember my grandmother used to make this bhaja moshla, which was basically, I don't remember if I think I've probably spoken about it already, which was sauf and dhania and all these things sort of roasted and kept in a bottle. I did talk about it in my last episode, I think. So sauf, again, you get different kinds of varieties of sauf. There's that thin variety, which is more for mouth freshener purposes, and then there's that fat one, which is, I guess, for cooking purposes. But it's a great spice to have in your kitchen. And what I do is I grind it fresh when I'm using it in cooking, because then the aroma is really the best. And a lot of these spices, if you sort of gently roast them and then grind them, then it tastes much, much better. I think it releases the aromas, the oil or whatever it is. And of course, a lot of these spices are also essential for all the pickles that we make. And we'll talk about the combinations a little later. Then let's come to Kalonji Nigella or Kala Jira. And they're these little black seeds. I really love the way Kalonji looks.
Captain has joined us.
Hi, Captain. Good to see you. And welcome back. I don't know. Yeah, okay. You weren't there last episode. You weren't there live. Okay. So we're talking about Kalonji, and I find Kalonji so pretty to look at, the Nigella seeds. They've got this coal kind of a blackness to them, and such a beautiful, delicate, fragile shape, but they really pack a punch. And they've got this kind of a nutty kind of a flavor, and of course it's used mostly in tempering various vegetarian dishes. I think there are a lot of non-vegetarian dishes also that are tempered with Kalonji. But there's this one very interesting preparation that my mother used to make after my sister had her first baby. And so I'm guessing that Kalonji has a lot of medicinal properties as well. So what she would do is she would make something called aloo morich. So basically you boil potatoes and you sort of crush Kalonji and pepper, and then you heat a little ghee and you put the crushed Kalonji and pepper in it, and you put the boiled potato in and you toss it around, and post pregnancy, postpartum, it's supposed to be very, very good for the mother. And I'm not sure what exactly it does, but it does work certain magic. So again, Kalonji is an essential for the pickling process. And we'll talk about the spice combinations a little later. Then we have til. Til, again, very commonly used right across the country and in various forms. Like of course the most famous way that til is used is in things like reverie and kajak, and winter's coming up, and I am dying to get hold of some of that reverie and gajak all the way from Agra and Mathura and those places. Those. I don't know if you guys have eaten it. It's the gud ka sweet, or it's like a candy. It's made out of sugar or with gur, and basically it's these hard bits of sugar and gur, again shaped like teardrops, and they're coated with til. And they're such fun to eat, and they're supposed to be a great warmer upper for the winter season, which is why it's sold only in the winter season. And great fun to eat after a meal, sitting in the sun on the charpai and crunching away on this while people are like generally chit-chatting and stuff like that. Til is til is also used as a paste for a lot of foods, and I know of these Nepali foods, Nepali achar. They call it achar, but basically it's a dry preparation of, say, potatoes or mooli, and they roast and grind the til and then add it to the vegetable. Really tastes yummy because it's so nutty, and it's got this amazing flavor, especially if you roast it. It's like really, really good. And you must try it, and it sort of adds again a whole layer of meaning to whatever vegetables you're cooking. Similarly, poppy seeds. Poppy seeds I used to think was only prevalent in Bengal, but so many of these North Indian dishes, especially the Mughlai dishes, and even in the South, so much of poppy paste is used, especially when cooking non-vegetarian foods. And poppy is actually, it sort of works as it sort of calms you down, obviously, because it's poppy, and it does make you sleepy. And it's a great favorite with the Bengalis. And I remember Captain told us when we were talking about poppy seeds at some point that actually it sort of comes down from Bihar, used to come down from Bihar, and that's how it became down the Ganges, and that's how it became so popular. But poppy seeds is good fun, and poppy seeds is also used in places like I think China, and of course the West use it on their breads and things like that. And sadly, they're not allowed. You're not allowed to carry it into I think the Arab countries or something of that sort. But otherwise, I think the rest of the world sort of uses poppy seeds quite regularly. Now, coming to the groups of masalas, so you have the Garam Masala group. It's called Garam Masala because I guess they're all heating in in the sense of what they do to the body, whatever. Things like elaichi, cardamom, long, clove, dalchini, cinnamon, bay leaf, tej patta, and of course you have the star anise, and you have the mace, and you have nutmeg, and you have pepper, and you have saffron. All the aromatics, they are all, each and every one of them is a star in its, has like, holds its own place in that universe of aromatic spices. And a lot of these are also used as mouth fresheners, like elaichi is. Very often when you have a sore throat or something, you pop a long into your mouth. Long is supposed to be good for toothaches, so you can pop it into your mouth for that as well. Dalchini, cinnamon. I remember as a child, I had a very bad sweet tooth, and I would consume anything that I discovered that was sweet. So I remember even popping this whole bottle of some homeopathy pills that were lying over there, and there were these small little, little white balls that were there, and they're sugar, and I ate it all up. And luckily homeopathy doesn't have any side effects, but after that my mother had to lock up the homeopathy medicine. But I used to actually go into the kitchen in the afternoons when the whole world was sleeping, and I would sort of pinch cinnamon sticks from my mother's masala dibba and then chomp on it while reading my books. And I still love eating dalchini, though strangely Amit is not very fond of it. But dalchini does have an amazing flavor, and cinnamon, of course, I mean, like you add it to your coffee nowadays as well. It's become, and a lot of these are used in the West as well. They bake their Christmas cakes with all these spices. They make, of course, their what is that drink called? Those rum toddies, whatever wine, mulled wine and stuff like that. And all these spices sort of go into it. And again, these are used in combinations. So for instance, where I come from, Bengal, the simplest garam masala use is just elaichi, dalchini and long. That's cardamom, clove and cinnamon. But further north you go, you find things like shahjeera being added to it, star anise being added to it, and for some reason their garam masala also has components like jeera and dhania and all that. Then you go south, say to Hyderabad, for instance, their biryani masala has even tej patta and all that ground into it. So all sorts of places across the country have different variations of the garam masala. And like for instance in Maharashtra and Gujarat, I find their garam masala tastes very different. And so I don't buy the packaged garam masala over here, because there's something they add, I think it's called nag what? One sec. I'll figure out what that's called. What's saffron called in Hindi, Amit? With K? Kesar, Nag Kesar. So I think they have something called Nag Kesar, which is cobra saffron, and they're these small little kind of buds kind of thing, and I think that's what they add probably, which I don't really like the flavor of. So because I'm not used to it, as simple as that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but And nutmeg is something I discovered very late in life actually. I sort of never really experimented with my garam masalas till probably 5-6 years back. And that's when I got into baking, and that's when sort of, nutmeg entered my life. And then I realized you can add nutmeg to a whole host of milk dishes. Anything that's got milk in it, nutmeg sort of adds a different flavor to it, and really sort of makes the whole thing very wholesome. And similarly with saffron, I only use saffron ever in my biryani. I never use saffron in any of the other dishes that I cooked. And then I realized, I can add saffron to my kheer and give it a different taste, because saffron does go into what is that thing called, firni. And of course,
Biryani.
no, I'm talking about firni. I'm talking about using saffron in sweet dishes. And now, of course, you get jalebis made with saffron, and you get motichur laddus made with saffron, and sort of everybody is using saffron in anything. And but saffron is again, you need to sort of be very judicious about how much you're using, because too much of it can again kill the dish. Like salt, like you like any flavoring, any spice that you're using, it has to be just that right amount. Then of course you have all the souring agents. You've got anardana, the pomegranate seeds, and you've got amchur. In Bengal we have something called amshi, which is dried mango, and you just plonk a piece into, they make a really good fish curry with it, khatta fish curry with mustard, ground mustard and okra in it. And I love it. I don't know if Amit will eat it. I'm going to try it one day on him, and maybe I'll share the recipe with you guys as well, because I still have to do a whole series of the mustard fish. Then of course you have kokum, and you have kachampali, and you have kadampali, and you have tamarind, and you have all these things that are the souring agents. Again, I guess Indian food, all the food that we cook has all the elements in it. It has sweet, it has sour, it has spicy, which is chili, and it has salt, of course. So all these four things sort of make up the Indian each and every dish that comes out of our subcontinent. And we're adding salt to our sweet and sweet to our salt, and a lot of sourness gets added to. In fact, like if you take for instance dhania does have a slight sourness to it. And rye, for instance, when you make gobi shalgam ka achar and you add rye to it, that rye is actually a souring, is adding a sour element to the pickle. For instance, kanji, which you drink in winter, that's the fermented kind of drink made with black carrots, kala gajar, and you just put water in a matka with this kala gajar and rye and leave it in the sun for a few days, and then you have this wonderful drink, which is again a great digestive, and it's wonderful to drink in the winter months, because I guess it also warms you up, and maybe because winter is also a time when all this stuff sort of stays protected, because the weather is nice and cool and nothing is rotting out there. Then of course you have all these hidden gems like radhuni and jakhia and kachri and tagat phool and ratanjot and marui nakupi, which is I think also called inimpata, at least I think my grandmothers call that inimpata. Then you have Marathi mogu. So there's so many hidden spices across the country that I'm seriously thinking of doing a food yatra of the different states and all the various kinds of food that are there in each state. And maybe you guys can sort of write in and tell me what's special about your state, and that way I get some leads as to what I should be looking for. because as an outsider, when you go to a state and you know ask them, so what masalas are you putting into this particular dish, they invariably look at you and say, oh, sab masala dal do, or put all the masalas. And you're like, what are all the masalas? Can you tell me? And then they sort of just rattle off pyaz, adrak, lasan, dhania, jeera, mirchi, this, that, and very conveniently they either leave out that special ingredient that's going into it, or they don't tell you the combination. You know, they don't tell you the exact ratios in which the masalas are going in, and which is what makes that whole difference to the dish or the recipe. So maybe I shall start with Kanyakumari. What do you guys think? Anyway, the spice mixes, to talk about the spice mixes, all these spices that we've talked about, now they can be used either singly, because they have their own powers, so to speak. So for instance, you can cook something with only jeera in it, or you can cook something with only dhania in it, or you can do a combination of dhania, jeera, mirchi. You can use actually just salt and turmeric and cook a dish, whether even a fish dish. We have fish dishes which are cooked only with salt and turmeric and nothing else in it, maybe a twist of lime at the end, you know, just before you're eating it. You can have things with just salt and pepper. You can have complicated, you know, combinations of masalas, like for instance, Panch Phoron, the Bengali Panch Phoron, which is so talked about. And people insist that Panch Phoron is with mustard, but it's not with mustard. Panch Phoron is with radhuni. Radhuni is, I think it's wild celery leaves, seeds. By the way, did you know Hing was related to the celery plant? Anyway, so radhuni is celery seeds, wild celery seeds, and the combination is basically jeera, kalonji, methi, the celery seeds, and I said kalonji already. Sorry, what did I say? Kalonji, jeera, radhuni. Why am I forgetting? Shit. Okay, anyway, we'll come back to it. Sorry, did I just say the S word? So, jeera, kalo jeere, radhuni. Huh? No, I haven't got this written down. Sauf and methi. Yeah, I was forgetting sauf. So, jeera, kalonji, radhuni, sauf and methi. This is Panch Phoron. And then you have in Bengal various versions of bhaja masala. So depending on what you're using that bhaja masala for, whether you're using it to you know, flavor your tomato chutney or your mango chutney, or you're using it to make ghugni. Ghugni is basically with matar, dried white matar. It's like chole, but a different sort of variety of the beans. So depending on what you're making, and then you have your Hyderabadi biryani masala, which is again a very different sort of, you know, combination of various things. Then you have all these pickle masalas. You do get ready-made pickle masala, but you can make your own pickle masala. For instance, the Punjabi pickle masala I find is very similar to the Bengali Panch Phoron, except that it doesn't have radhuni, it has mustard in it. And I think the methi quantity is a little less because they don't like it bitter. But basically, you know, these masalas, you dry roast it and grind it, or just pound it a little bit so that it's like a rough grind, and add it to your dishes and things like that. And you can play around with them and, you know, sort of change the taste of your dish with every you know, twist and turn that any of these masalas take. And it's great fun to sort of, you know, look at them and sort of try and figure out what you're going to do next with your pumpkin or your fish or your eggs or whatever it is that you're cooking. Even your rice, I mean, you add these, you know, temper your rice with a little bit of these, and you've got amazing rice dishes coming up. And so go ahead and have a great weekend, no, week. We're still in the middle of the week. I'm losing track because we started off on Sundays, moved to Mondays, now it's Wednesdays. But anyway, have a great time out there, and we shall see you again very soon. I'm not promising when because the kitchen is actually keeping us quite busy. And so, bye bye and take care. Any questions?
Anoop is saying he didn't know he was related to celery.
Yeah, it's related to the celery plant. So, celery is quite a hidden daddy out there.
The celery salt also.
Celery salt, I mean, celery as a plant by itself is very salty. I don't know if celery salt is made only with celery, dried up celery, or whether it's, salt flavored with celery, because it's very salty. You have to be really careful when using celery salt, and it has a slight bitter tinge to it, the celery salt.
So that's also very salty. I salt.
Oh.
Okay, so you want to just tell people to please subscribe.
Yeah. If you guys are watching this later, not live, and you haven't subscribed as yet, please do subscribe. We have a lot of fun stuff going on our channel. Of course, it's all food related, but we have fun with food, and we'd love it if you sort of, join us and be part of our fun journey, food journey. There's, a lot of singing and no dancing, thank God. Comedy and all sorts of things that happen. So do subscribe and do like and do comment every time you see something. So,
And if you're in Mumbai,
yes, if you're in Mumbai, we have the Slow Fire Chef Kitchen from where you can order meals. So you can send us, you can on any of the Slow Fire Chef social media handles, I think Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, you can sort of, send us your details, your WhatsApp numbers, and we'll add you to our list and keep sending you the menu every week, because every week we have something new that we put on the menu. And of course, what's happened in the past is always available. So,
and also subscribe to our friend channel Life in the Matrix.
and another channel that's really coming up to be great fun is Life in the Matrix, which belongs to our friend Anoop. And he's been taking all these lovely walks in all these foodie places in Singapore, and so much so that I'm looking forward to buying my ticket and going to Singapore and eating all that food. But I don't know if they have living accommodations within those food courts, or the food villages, because it's going to be very strenuous for Amit going back and forth from whichever hotel he's living at to those places to fill up on his stomach. And so, Captain, do tell us about that in your next
Please
video.
come and inform them that next week onwards, or rather 2 days from now onwards, Life in the Matrix will be posting videos from Philippines.
Oh, so Captain's going back to Philippines, so Life in the Matrix is going to be talking about Philippines again. Lovely. Okay.
Alright, so say your bye bye.
I have said bye bye 3 times already. I will say bye bye again.
You can wish Anoop a happy journey. He's leaving for Philippines tomorrow.
A happy journeys, Captain. Have a great trip. Fly safe, and fair weather to you in Philippines. Have you switched off?